It's time to join Dan and Angie in getting to know the small business owners and artists in your town. Small biz is where it is. Let's support our community by shopping small, keeping it local, and keeping things all fine and dangy.
Hey guys, thank you so much for tuning in this week. We are so happy that we've had so many people just tuning in to listen to what the small businesses in our community are up to.
And I'm going to say, indeed, right here. Like I always, I got to figure
word.
out another word right
We need
here.
to make a t-shirt that says hashtag Indeed. And Dan wears it all around town.
I also like how you kind of dance to the theme song most of the time coming. I don't know if you did that today.
Did I? I
probably think so.
No?
Yeah.
Okay. I think I usually do that, actually. Yeah.
Well, this is the first time we've been in studio with two people at the same time, which is awesome because,
yes, it is.
This Mike over here just sits here growing dust most of the time.
That is right. Well, thank you for being the first. And this is your first podcast.
It is.
Yes. Oh, very exciting. We've had a lot of first timers, actually. So we feel pretty good about that. We kind of break you in. So if you ever on another one or you get interviewed, on the news or something, you're like, I've done this before.
When you hit it big, just make sure you say, and we just want to thank Fine and Danjee for making us millionaires, getting us on the map. Here's their website.
Yeah, well, we're excited to have Audrey Russell and Sarah
Craycraft.
I wanted to say Staycraft. You know what I did? I typed it out like that earlier, and I'm like, wait a minute, I don't think that's right. Let me go check again. Let me correct that. Thank you guys so much for joining us.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
And I love the name of your small biz.
Thank you.
Herboholic.
Yes,
Am I saying it right?
Herboholic.
Herboholic. I always put the H in.
Is it Herboholic? It's Herboholic, right?
Herboholic.
But if you ask my husband, it's the Herboholic.
Yeah, some of us,
Does he say herbs and spices? Because I've heard people say that.
I just did with the H. I don't know why I do
I've heard people, that reminds me of when people say like salmon. Would you like salmon? Or
his is like silicon. And I'm like, what are you talking about? What is that?
I used to have a friend that said Capri Sun instead of Capri Sun. And I'm like, Kathy, no, it's not. And she's like, that's how I say it. I'm like, okay.
Oh, boy.
We all have our thing.
Oh, yeah.
This is not to go there, but this reminds me of that video I show you where the guy says Chipotle for Chipotle. Sounds like Chick-fil-A, kind of, but all right, whatever.
That is so funny. Well, we love that you have a woman-owned small business, and you guys are going to get all into the details of these cool little tinctures and more organic stuff that you use, artisanal, that's the word I'm thinking of, artisanal type kind of remedies for helping us with our overall health and wellness.
Yeah.
Very cool. So, I mean, there's so many different ways that you can take this type of business, right?
Oh, yeah.
So you guys just started this year as far as being a business.
Yeah.
But kind of walk us through what led to that. What led to the aha moment where you said, okay, let's turn this into something where we can kind of help other people out.
Well, I would say we've been doing it for our families for a while, like just the two of us.
Yeah.
And I think for me personally, I think us becoming neighbors, that helped a lot.
Yeah.
Because we've been talking about it for a while, just as, it would be fun. Because, our husbands, they play games together, and we're like,
they've known each other for years.
Since like kindergarten.
So did you guys know each other before you were neighbors?
Yes.
Oh, cool.
Did you meet through your husbands?
Yes.
Okay.
How cool.
Yes. We met, it was like, 2 weeks before my wedding.
Yeah.
And her husband pulled me aside and he was like, you need to make her a bridesmaid. And I will say, I really wish I did. I love this girl. She is my best friend.
But you're like, it's been 2 weeks, like we just said.
Slow down. But
how cool is it when your spouses are good friends or best friends and your best friends? It's almost like one big family at that point, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
That's really what we call ourselves is, we're just family at this point.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, because it could go the opposite way. And that's always... it's like, oh, no, we're going over there for dinner. Okay, let me put my happy face on.
That's how I felt when we announced, my husband and I, when we announced our engagement. I will say we were young and I played it off on Snapchat. And I was just like, oh, no, I don't have a boyfriend no more. And her husband calls my now husband. And he puts him on speaker, and I was like, well, this could go one of two ways. Man, you finally got rid of her, or what did you do? But luckily it was the latter, and he was really upset. What happened?
Oh, I feel like I saw
That's a
that
good
sketch.
friend, yeah.
I feel like I saw that somewhere, like in The Office or something, where I had to look that up. But where the guy's like, "Oh, thank God you got rid of her. I always hated her," and he's on speaker with her, and he's like, "No, we got engaged," and it's like, that's horrible. It's
I
like,
was really worried about that because we were walking back to my house, and I just remember him calling, and I was like, that really could have gone so much worse.
But that tells you what people really feel, though, which is nice, you know, because without anyone listening, as far as he knew, it was like, you know, that's awesome. Angie used to be a health and wellness coach, and I know we're going to maybe get into
technically still am. I just don't practice it. I need to practice it on myself.
But I am, you know, I don't know nearly as much about like tinctures and stuff and how they work, but I'm going to have some curious questions about that because even in our own lives, we have tried to like be a little more healthy. So we started exercising more recently. Maybe let's not have that glass of wine during the week. Let's save it for the weekend. So I'm curious about these tinctures and things like that and what they're made of and what they do and how you even got started doing that to begin with.
Oh, yeah. Well, the tinctures, I can tell you, it does not replace the wine.
Yeah. Well, I don't think it's meant to give you like a buzz, right? But it's almost like medicine.
Wise.
Yeah.
Oh, it's medicine, all right.
Yeah.
So the tinctures, it's just pure alcohol.
Oh, yeah?
You just go to the ABC store and you go and you
get the highest proof.
Everclear.
Oh, there was alcohol in them.
It is alcohol.
Sounds wonderful.
Oh, yeah.
But so, I'm just curious the process because
we've made tinctures at the house before.
It's been a long time. It's been a long time, but I know that we don't like to take medicine either. And I'm getting older. I won't say you're getting older because I'm older than you, but I'm approaching my mid-50s in the next couple of years. And, you know, as you start having aches and pains or things here and there, doctors are right away, traditional doctors are going to ask you, this is what I hate, as soon as you walk into the doctor's office, the first question is, who's your pharmacist? And you're like, hold up, why are we talking medicine? And I hate it. So the idea that tinctures are a natural medicine, I always think of it like maybe what they took for medicine before Big Pharma came along. And you don't have all these side effects and you're not, you know, oozing, bleeding may cause, you know, the stuff they say at the end of the commercial real fast. That you don't. So I'm just curious, how did you get into it? And did you guys see like the health benefits right away?
Well, I will say, speaking of that, like at the end where it's like, if you had these symptoms back in like 2015, you know, I want to say you will not be waking up in the middle of the night hearing those commercials because I feel like that's the only time you ever hear them. It's like 2 a.m. So they have TV on.
Check that box for the lawyer. Right?
And it's like just thinking about that. It's like everything's because at one point, you know, it was like baby powder, and then it's like everything.
Yeah,
and it just really got to the point where it's like, you know, I don't want to regret what I have had put in my body, and then like looking into everything, like when you like, and I will understand, like when you go looking for a problem, you are going to find one.
Yeah.
But it's like looking at the ingredients of everything and like looking at what does this do? And it's like can cause cancer, can cause infertility, can cause
that's
anything
what I mean.
and everything under the moon.
Yeah.
And you start thinking, okay, you know, I feel like my back pain is not as bad as the other stuff. So I'm just going to choose that.
Yeah.
Well, and it's like I grew up, my family always told me, you know, the doctors don't make money off of healthy people.
Yeah.
That's right.
And
how would you stay in business?
Oh, yeah. And I mean, like, even just putting that into concept, it's like...
Oh, and when you also find out, and I'm really not a conspiracy theorist, though it seems like as I get older I am. I don't know if conspiracy theory means it's not true, though, you know? Because there are investors, big investors that invest in the medicine, but they also invest in the processed foods. And you're like, wow, you're getting it on both ends.
Oh,
you're getting the thing that causes the problem, and then you get to treat it. So it's like,
one thing about that is one of the main companies, the company that owns Roundup, they also own a lot of pharmaceutical things. Right. So like, if
that's Monsanto.
Yeah, exactly.
I was on. Somebody just shut us off. No, I'm just kidding. But that's what I'm always thinking,
being
right?
Invaded.
Oh man.
But there's so much we could talk about there because you know the guy that got Hodgkin's lymphoma. Am I saying that right?
Hodgkin's.
Yeah, I think it's
Hodgkin's. I can't really say that. But he was like, I don't know if you guys heard that story, but he was like a high school janitor and he sprayed Roundup all the time and he ended up getting cancer, and they were able to prove that it was from that. And he won the lawsuit and got all this money from him.
And guess what? They still sell.
Right. In my mind, I'm like, that's it. It's off the shelf.
Like,
and you go to Home Depot and there's a wall of, there's 13 flavors of it now. So
and it's just like new, like labeling, like the picture looks different, where you think it's something new, but it's still the same thing.
Yeah. And the thing is, tinctures, they're nothing new.
Yeah.
I mean, this is, the very traditional way
it's the original
of medicine.
Yeah.
And, we go into a deep dive of how they've ran, those type of practitioners off, right?
Of course.
But it was a trial and error type thing when they were working on tinctures as well.
Oh, yeah,
so
very
you were
much.
pretty much an experiment, Let's see. Let's give you this plant. Okay, that one makes you throw up. Okay, we can use that for things to make you,
If you drink poison, eat this one.
Eat this one. So it was very much a trial and error thing. But I love that we're starting in our culture to start bringing that back, and that's what you guys are doing, is looking out for your own health.
I see that, like, anytime I go on social media and, like, you know how your phones are listening to you, and it's like I'll get these like posts, and it's like, I wasn't born in the wrong era, I'm just bringing this era back. And it's like that really is kind of what's going on. Because, like, me growing up, I was raised by a 90-year-old woman. She was born in the 1920s.
Yeah.
And it's like, this was a normal thing for us.
Yeah.
Like, I remember them taking me out anytime we would be outside. They would be like, this plant, chew it up if you get a splinter or a bee sting, put it on there, and I'll take it out.
Yeah.
And, like, I grew up like that.
That used to be how it went, though. It was like knowledge transfer through generations, and we got smarter and smarter.
Then you just lose it. And, I mean, like, it just becomes lazier and lazier. Like, why do I want to go out and make it myself? This goes back to, like, when we were talking about doing it for other people.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to go out and do it themselves. Why put the time and effort when I can just go spend 5 hours in the emergency room to get told you need Tylenol?
That may cause
Because, that's a lot simpler
and
than
that's all
going out and make it yourself.
Right, but those are the people that aren't thinking about the oozing, dying, whatever they whisper at the end.
They just want something right then and there.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think, we've gotten so sort of accustomed to taking Advil and Tylenol and stuff like, it's safe, it's just Advil. But, the stuff is still terrible for your body in the long run. But so to back us up just a bit, how did you decide have you been making tinctures like your whole life with your family?
Not me personally, because I was one of those,
Yeah.
I was like, I'm going to just go to the doctor.
Of course.
I don't really.
Me too, of course.
Plants saving me? No. And then it's like getting older, I was like, okay, don't like the medical bill. Let's start trying this.
Right.
I mean, that's a great perspective. Right? You're, so everybody's struggling to make
and
ends
it's
meet.
like, it's so crazy. And like I said, especially growing in that different environment of people in the 20s versus now. Like, they'll tell me, when I bought my house, it was like $20. And I'm like, well, I can get a cardboard box. Like, that's my house.
Right.
And it's just like, especially seeing everything from then to now, and like just hearing the comparisons, it's just like,
what a cool perspective for you, though, to be raised as somebody.
It's been so crazy. Like, I hear so many people tell me that, and like there's a lot more that's like gone on behind closed doors, but it's like just even experiencing that in general, like I've always felt like I was such an old person growing up, like,
because that's
how I was grown, and like the differences, and like just being raised in that culture, because like the whole generational trauma and stuff, my great grandparents didn't raise anyone else. Like, they raised me, so I didn't have, here's the outtake of how my grandfather raised his daughter, and this is how my mom raised her daughters. Like, I didn't have that different variance. So it's like we all act as like one, and then like just breaking that standpoint and like going on my own, because it's like everyone, like my sisters, my siblings, they don't do this. They talk to me and they're like, I don't know how you got into this. Like, what happened?
But you know what, to go back to that trauma thing for a minute, I feel like the families that I see where that topic doesn't really come up it's not like yours. That's a very sort of
very
a
unique,
special, unique environment. Thank you for that. But there are maybe more also in the country. We grew up in the South, but it's weird. Florida is one of those places where they say it's the only place you can go more south and more north at the same time, so it depends. But, I am a native of Florida, like 4 or 5 generations, and there are families who had instilled sort of the sort of behaviors and the things that they are into and all, and they were so much like that the generations didn't change that much. But it seems like now it's like one generation later and it's totally different. So they have kids and everything is like totally different, and all the old rules are out. And so I love that you had the perspective of kind of everyone learning similar and holding the same values.
Oh, trust me, I get it. I'm like, I'll catch myself, like, especially like working at a daycare, working in childcare.
Yeah.
It's like, man, like, or even seeing it out in public. It's like, if I did that,
me too.
would not have flown by
would
my
not
family.
have gone over.
I wouldn't be where I am.
So I see what you're saying, because you get the perspective of someone who's older like me, who's older, you know, a generation or two older than you, but that's how we feel, where we're like, oh my God, that would never have happened.
Yeah.
Or the fit that you're having, you know, so it's especially hard for us where the kid's screaming the whole time on the airplane and your eyes twitching like, this is really happening, you know. So
This is real life right now. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Why didn't I bring my special stuff to take when I was on the plane?
But you're I don't mean to hog the conversation,
You
but
really are.
Really,
Gosh,
I'm really
I haven't
curious.
had one question.
I'm just curious about the tincture thing. So you didn't necessarily do it all the time, but you started doing it. And did you start to see the health benefits of it?
Oh yeah, like especially I would say my first tincture that I personally made was like goldenrod, and it also helps with like some sinuses and stuff and allergies, which, you know, I wouldn't have known that. And it's like going back to the not listening to my family, like in the back of my head I can remember like the waka 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 my grandfather, and I'm like goldenrod waka waka allergies. And so I was just like, oh okay, don't touch those because he said something about allergies.
Oh, that's what you remembered. Like you were going to be allergic to it.
Yeah. And so it's like
Partial listening.
oh yeah. And so I just remember him saying something about goldenrods and allergies, and then I just started looking into it, and it was like, no, goldenrod isn't bad for allergies. It actually helps when you make it into the tinctures itself.
Oh,
And so
you're talking to someone who has to take Zyrtec every day, and I hate it.
It was
I wonder what it's doing to me.
I was not allowed to go outside in the summer. It was so bad.
Yeah.
And it was like,
Yeah, and we did notice the pollen up here is worse than in Florida, just in that
yeah.
spring
So-
period. And like it's just a kind of a short period, but it is so bad that
It's the Bradford pears.
Oh, is that what
is that
it
what
is?
it is?
It's the
Always.
white.
Little-
They're white,
tiny
flowers.
white flowers or
Yeah.
bigger ones? The little ones. Okay.
And that's worse than I mean, I thought you were going to do this. It's almost like you could open the pollen up when you're walking to your car because you can see it coming down.
Yeah, you're
on
like
you.
wiping the table and you're like, oh, this is
yeah.
what's coming out of my nose. Like,
And the
like
spot
their
you wiped is
cars.
covered again already. By
oh
the
yeah.
yeah, it's crazy.
I know.
Wow.
We couldn't believe that. So that was a little alert. You know, we're like, we're free of everything up here.
Can we move back? Yeah.
But, no
Well,
way.
we've never said that.
But it does make me want to try goldenrod. I knew this was going to happen today. The more we talk about
Yeah.
what things do, because I do have to take a few things that and like a nasal spray for sinuses every day. And
So-
you know it's not good for you. you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
So I want to talk a little bit about like when you guys first started doing those
Yeah.
tinctures, the trial and error, kind of like the research and development of getting that to the right potency, or you know, there's I'm sure a little trial and error. So let's kind of talk about the process. Sarah, what was your first tincture? Do you remember?
Well, let's see. I think my first tincture was a holy basil tincture. And
And what does holy basil do?
it's also known as Tulsi, and it really helps with inflammation
Oh, that's great.
and
Everybody needs that.
Yeah.
So far, I need to take all of these.
Yeah, inflammation is like the major thing
Yep.
that it helped with for me. Just
Oh, cool.
like it helped like my migraines and stuff like that. It helped a lot for that.
How often do you take tinctures? Does it depend on the tincture?
It depends on the tincture, what you need it for, how potent it is, and it really depends on even the person who takes it. I mean, you could take it every hour, a few drops every hour. You could take it once a day, and it would, it depends on what it is.
Yeah, I think it definitely depends on the potency, like Sarah had said, because I know it's pretty much, I don't want to say it's pretty much the same, but think of it like the Delta 8 drops, the ones that you do like under your tongue. You can do it like that, or you can like shots of it. Like
Yeah. And it probably depends on your tolerance for that kind of stuff too. I would assume you have, in the same way with like THC or alcohol, I would assume your body either adapts or resists even the healthy stuff depending on the way you're wired, right?
Oh yeah, and and especially like finding out what you are and are not allergic to and trying to make these different blends.
Yes.
Oh, that's true.
Because some of these things you've never been exposed to. And when you're, when you haven't been exposed to it, your body almost treats it like it's a foreign thing. And it's attack.
Yeah. And so, like, you're supposed to try, like, 1 to 2 new herbs at a time. And like try it for like a week or so.
So you can figure out.
So if there is an allergic reaction, whereas don't be like me and just be like, ooh, herbs.
That's what I was just thinking.
Did I put all of these in one bottle?
Oh yeah.
I was the two that you've each described. I'm like, okay, we need to order one of everything they have. I'm gonna take it the day it gets here.
Calm down.
Yeah, that's
everything.
Yeah, that was something because I used nettle. Nettle is really good for iron, and I have a blood disease. And so I was like, okay, I'll do
like a
iron.
stinging nettle?
Yeah, your stinging nettle. It helps with your iron. It helps with iron deficiencies.
Yeah, people do like nettle tea and stuff like that.
I had no clue.
And I don't
inform you very good, I know.
I thought it was just a horrible plant that you don't want to step on.
No. And come to find out, like I put it in these teas with like all these other herbs, and come to find out I'm allergic to nettle.
Oh my gosh!
Because we just got done making a new blend of teas for our own personal use, and it was like 75% nettle. And Sarah was like, "Here you go," and I was like, "Sorry, I can't do it."
Oh, wow!
But you had a good point, Angie, because people like me, where you're like, "Oh, I'm not allergic to anything. I've already been through that at the doctor." You don't know what you're allergic to because most people never have this stuff.
You just haven't been exposed to it.
Yeah.
And I like that you guys, there's different ways to create tinctures, right? You guys do it, what is known as, I think, the better way to extract a little more of the volatile oils out of the herbs.
Well, and a lot of people think about heating them or like drying them. But you have to think, like, whenever you're heating them, you're letting a lot of that natural oil out. Mm-hmm. And I will say for, like, some of our products, we do heat them up. But, like, we are trying to we found, like, a new, like, oil pulling technique.
Yeah.
And so we're hoping that makes it stronger for one of our products that we've been making.
Downside is that it takes a lot longer.
Yeah, the oil pulling does.
So, and again, like, that's a main reason why we were doing this because, like, I have a parent that I sell to, that I work with, and she's like, I don't have the time for this. I got like 2-3 kids. Like, I love it.
Yeah, it's a laborsome job because with your alcohol tinctures, you have to success it every day, right? So you got to shake it,
and like you got to let it sit for like multiple weeks. You like pretty much just forget about it, and then you remember it.
And
you
got to be organized because you got to have your little dates on there when you did what, and have it, a nice, dry, cool place, dark place.
Yes.
So can we get it right?
Can we do a quick?
I remember some things. See,
because I'm just thinking we may have some listeners or watchers that don't know what a tincture is as we're talking about it. Can we do
I didn't think about that.
Quick description?
It's called Google.
Nobody's gonna do that.
I do that a lot. I'm like, what are they talking about?
Exactly.
But I would have never known had it not been for you, Angie, as the doing the health and wellness thing. So maybe could you give our audience a description of what they are?
Okay.
Sarah's like, go for it.
So the only way to describe it is it's just the medicine, and you think of it like, you have like your infused water, you have like your, in this case, infused vodka. And so this is really just the infused vodka, and it has the natural herbs in it that helps with a specific need that you are needing for your body. And so, like we had said before, you can take it like you do with a dropper, do a few drops under your tongue. You can do it like once in an hour, depending on the potency.
But you're not eating the herbs that are in there. Okay, it's the oils.
So
they're strained out.
Yeah, you strain it out.
Okay. Makes sense.
Yeah, so
Otherwise,
you're not
it'll
like
just be forever more potent.
Yeah, it just keeps getting more potent and more. And sometimes that can be harmful.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's certain...
It can burn. It can, hurt your gut.
Yeah,
burn your throat. All
the
sorts
dose
of
makes
stuff.
the poison.
Yeah.
Wow.
There's certain herbs, like skullcap. You can take that, but if you don't take the right proportion of it, it could be fatal.
Oh, wow.
And that's like where it does get scary when you're thinking of stuff like that. But as long as you know your herbs and like, okay, don't do this. And it's also with like pokeweed. I've always grown up to know that pokeweed is poisonous. And my boss is like messaging me at like 2 a.m. She's like, Hey, Audrey, my neighbor is making me pokeweed. If I don't show up tomorrow, you know why.
Oh, my God.
Apparently, as long as you boil it like 5 times, you can eat it.
Wow, what a risk. It
Yeah.
must be like a big thing that it treats, though. Like
Well, his wife made it, and she had like just passed away, and so he was just like
Was
wanting.
it from pokeweed?
That's what I told my boss.
seriously. Yeah.
Were they able to figure out what it was? Like,
But yeah, so it's like it's not the fact of like poison, dying. It's the fact of you're getting too much of a specific vitamin. I think that one was like the vitamin C or vitamin.
Oh,
So you're getting pretty much an overdose of a vitamin that you need. It's just like when you're sick and if you drink too much like orange juice when you're sick, you can get overloaded with.
so you're triggering another health issue by overdosing what should have been the cure for the thing, or the treatment, at
basically
least.
your body is trying to detox that because now it's become a toxin instead because your cells can't absorb it all.
Yeah.
So it's like,
now it's
wait,
just
we got to get
free
rid
there.
of this. Yeah.
I see. Interesting.
So let's go into, so you talk about, educating yourself on the different herbs. What has your education looked like as you've kind of, started developing, now that you've started a business and you're putting your name on it, right? People want to make sure you know your stuff, which already sounds like you do. How are you continuing that education? How did you kind of get started? Was it just through research? Have you taken classes? Like, what's your background on that?
A lot of research.
Yeah.
A lot of research and, knowledge through, like our elders and stuff. They've been through
That's
this.
the
They
best
know
source.
those things.
Your nana helps with
Yeah.
us on it a bit too. So
Yeah,
it's not
she
just me
does.
that we're getting family help from. Her nana helps a lot.
Now,
too.
is Nana grandma?
Yes.
So it seems like that generation and older is the ones that took it all the time in place of big pharma meds.
And I think it's important for your generation to get that documented, right? Because just like in Chinese medicine, it was always word of mouth, passed down, taught, and there was never a written document. So it was lost for so many years because we can go into I know a little history.
Yeah.
Like the rulers over there didn't want people healing. They wanted it for themselves. So they would go to the villages and they would basically wipe out all. If there was documentation, they would wipe it out. Or take it
They
for
were afraid there
themselves.
wasn't going to be enough of the herbs or whatever?
Yeah, they would kill people that were like, medicine makers, healers.
Wow.
Because they wanted it for themselves. So
And like they're construed as witches. I know, like in the olden times, you're construed as a witch
Oh, you were
when you do
burned.
that, and it's just like,
There's
burned
a-
or drowned.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, this is where I go back to thinking.
here's the
there's
worst ways to go. Pick one.
on a 50-50 chance of whether you are real or not. Like,
Yeah.
If you
But this is
die,
where
sorry.
I go back to my sort of conspiracy theorist thing because I feel like a lot of that was just to get you out of the way. Sure, you're a witch because we need that for ourselves, or we're going to make a chemical-based medicine. It's funny because actual like pharmaceutical meds, many of them do have a little bit of some of that stuff in there.
Oh, yeah.
But I think Angie explained it to me best.
Synthetic now.
Yeah, and I'm curious with tinctures, does it take a while for the effects? Because when we were doing our all-natural stuff years ago, I was the typical American, like, it's not working. And she'd be like, it was an hour, dude.
Oh yeah.
You need to take it like for a
It's
week.
like little microdoses.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you do a little bit, you build it up, right? You're
Well, you
building,
also have to do a
building blocks.
cleanse. So like your body, it has like, you build up a tolerance
Sure.
to every type of medicine. That's why, whenever you get sick, they give you higher and higher doses of the amoxicillin or
Yeah.
penicillin, all of the illins.
That's why I stay away from them because, yeah.
And so your body is creating a natural intolerance to it. And so
Right.
when you start going down the natural route, your body has to cleanse itself. And so I feel like that's why a lot of people also stray from it, because I have had multiple people at my job, my coworkers, they're like, I've tried doing this, and like, or even with like the deodorant, they're like, I've tried the deodorant and now like I stink more, or I've tried this and now I feel like crap. And it's like, well, yeah, that's your body getting the actual crap out of you.
Yeah.
Like, you got to get the bad out first to start
yeah.
getting the good and
Right.
to start getting the actual results.
That's a great way to, educate people on
Yeah,
that too.
I mean,
You're like detoxing.
Like you can buy our product, but here's what we want to let you know. It's not going to work. This isn't how it's going to work.
It's not going to be an instant. And everyone, like you said, you want the boom,
well,
took the medicine
we're in that
instant.
type of society.
Yeah.
Order something from Amazon. Going to get it in 2 hours. Woo. I want it now. I want that right now.
That one.
It used to be like 2 days. That's amazing. And you're like, where the hell is it?
Yeah. Exactly.
And especially like once they did like, here's where your truck is. And I'm like, oh, there's going to be a person who's like stocking that truck. You're down the road. I'll meet you there.
Right. Or now
I need my
even
stuff.
where it's like next day, and it's like it'll be here between 4 a.m. and 8 a.m. And
I
you're
love
like,
it, but I
wow.
also hate it for
Me
my
too.
dogs.
I love it and hate it just for every reason.
Oh,
but,
yeah.
Yeah, we got.
But that's
we had to put little goodies out on the front porch for the Amazon drivers because they're here too much.
they're here too much.
They're hungry.
Yeah.
This is
Okay,
their
they
second
need a
home.
little snack.
Oh, yeah.
They're like you again. Okay.
That's how it felt when we were like, especially like first starting, like trying to get some stuff, like the containers and stuff. Oh, they were like there like every day.
Yeah,
Because
then you remember.
Hi, Jeff.
Yeah.
Bye, Jeff.
Because you're having to try different.
Yeah, and you
that
got
what-
to remember now. Then you remember, oh, we're going to need that to strain that, or we gotta get the little things to measure out exactly what we need.
Yeah, and even like just some of the basics, like our label maker. How many times we've had to like send the label maker back and get a new one?
just didn't work.
We've had like 3 different label makers, like all different brands, just trying to figure out what works best.
The expensive ones
No.
aren't always better.
Yeah.
No,
Sure.
no, they're not. But that is the process of starting a new business, and it's a big leap, right? From
Yeah.
just going from, I'm going to make this for Christmas for somebody to put in their stocking, right? Because you're giving health and wellness to them. That's your gift, and there's nothing better to me. I love like gifts that are made by somebody, a candle, a craft, whatever it is. I love stuff like that. We love supporting. Obviously, this is what we do: support small business. But don't know.
Oh, I know. I knew you were going to talk yourself out of that,
Jeez.
but I tell you where you were going.
Do you have something for that? For memory?
But what you were saying is there's a difference between that
Rhodiola. Sorry.
Oh.
Rhodiola helps with memory.
Oh, yeah, need it.
It helps with a lot of stuff.
rhodiola. That's an easy one to remember. It's like
Yeah.
rodeo.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But I think where Angie was going was there's a difference between you make this thing for your relative and now I have to make 300 of them.
There you
and,
go.
Yeah.
And that's where the mass sort of production on a mom and pop business level, on a small business
and
level.
like that does get scary. We had an event. My family member, her niece owns a store, and where she invited us to go and sell at her. It was like her 3-year anniversary, and it is like a THC shop. And so it was on 420 as well.
Oh, so tell me you did well.
We actually didn't do as well as we thought we were going to do. We still did good.
Yeah.
But like we had people go out of their way to tell us that they weren't here for this, which I understand.
Oh,
it
I
was
see
like,
what you're saying.
It was like the first 100 people that got something for free. But
Yeah.
like we got invited to do that like a week before the event.
So you didn't even have a chance to market.
Our
really.
husbands were like, please give me my wife back. Like, I miss her. Let her come home.
'Cause you're working nights and
We
We were up
to, like,
until 4 a.m.?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was
The
up till
day
4. You
of-
were up till 2.
The day of, like the day before the event, we were up till like 2 in the morning, like hysterical.
oh yeah,
We were just like, oh my
I
God.
bet.
Watching TV shows, just trying to get it all done.
Yeah.
All those labels. We had to cut each individual circle label out for one of our first label printers.
I bet you found one now that
There's
does
a punch.
it.
Yeah, this one's
Because we recruited our husbands and they did a good solid, 10
Maybe
stickers.
it's free work.
They were
It's
like,
free labor.
done.
Yeah, free labor. Family members, everybody's up for grabs
Did
when
you
you're
hear what
starting
she said?
small.
They did it like 20 minutes. They're like, all right, I'm good. Here you go.
Yeah.
Here's
Yeah.
your, here's your 15 stickers.
Oh, yeah. They were done. And we cooked them dinner too. And
Oh, man.
we were like, we'll cook you dinner if you help us.
Oh,
and
my
he
goodness.
they were, no.
That's too funny.
10 minutes
But-
in, done.
Yeah.
So you guys started this business a year ago, roughly?
Less than that.
Yeah, less
Oh,
than
wow.
that. We're still
Because it's this year.
we're still
Yeah.
a baby.
2024,
Oh,
right?
that's amazing.
Yeah.
So this is a brand new venture, pretty much.
Oh yeah,
Yep.
Wow.
everything is like our firsts right now.
Oh, that's so
that's
exciting.
awesome.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit more about some of your other products, because you have more than just tinctures. So
we
tell us what you have.
some with us.
Oh, cool.
Because as of right now, we're not really able to sell the tinctures since it is alcohol based.
Oh, I was going to ask about that. Do you have to have an alcohol license for that?
We're still trying to figure it out because lo and behold, the government does not want you to sell this stuff.
No, they don't.
You cannot find anything about this, and if you do, they will not contact you.
Yeah. Do you know how many emails
They'll
we sent out that they just don't respond to?
Or they do
phone
respond,
calls?
and they're like, "Okay, we'll respond to you tomorrow."
Yeah.
Or if they get
Tomorrow
get too
was
big,
5 weeks
if you get
ago.
too big for your britches, they'll just show up at your house and shut everything down.
Oh,
you
yeah.
know? Oh, these are cute.
Oh yeah,
labels.
this is the kind of stuff you're gonna love. We're sitting
Oh,
here
yeah.
reading the labels on some of these. I love that. This is another thing that Angie taught me about foods and all kind of stuff. It should be few ingredients, and it shouldn't be ingredients that you don't recognize and can't pronounce.
Yes.
So I never thought I'd be this guy, but I'm in the grocery store reading the back of things, going, "Yeah,
Oh,
not
I
buying that."
agree. Like I said, like my family's like, why are you doing this? Because anytime we go grocery shopping, I'm like, there's like an app, it's like the Yucca app, and I'm like, let me check my app before we buy it. Or like the Think Dirty app, and my siblings, we don't go grocery shopping no more.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
I'm on my
what's
own
the
for that
sense?
one.
Oh,
Yeah.
I bet.
So-
It's time to grow stuff or go to your local farmer markets.
I don't know if Sarah does it, but me personally, I name everything. And our garden, I call it the Farm-a-C.
I love
Farm.
it. It's so funny. We used to shop at a little farmer's market store.
In
That's
Florida.
what their name was.
Pharmacy.
Nice.
We were.
So
I was trying to get her to have that be our name for Herboholic, but
Yeah. FAR. What is it? FARMA.
Yeah, like
Yeah,
the
the
word
pharmacy.
instead of the
Yeah.
PH. That
Yeah.
is super clever.
I remember that
So
place.
we've got some body sprays, like natural
Yes, we
deodorizing
do.
sprays.
Yeah, and apparently they work on dogs too. I've had a few
Oh,
people tell me
nice.
that stinky like wet dogs.
Okay, and everything
Yeah.
in here is safe for the dogs.
Oh yeah, because
Perfect.
all it is, it's just water. We have some with witch hazel. We have some with the skin, like skin grade vegetable glycerin, and it's just water, a little bit of glycerin, and then the oils.
Wow,
for the smells.
we did get lucky with our dogs. They do not stink. You can let them dog. They also like if they get wet, they'll have like the wet dog smell.
Yeah.
But as soon as they're dry, our
And
dogs do not have
that's
odor.
what
I love
the
it.
people who have told us that it works on dogs. That's what they have specifically used it for. They're like, oh, my dog got wet outside,
Wet
and I
dog, yeah.
sprayed it on him, and gone.
But if you weren't thinking, this is why customers trying things, and doing something different with it, they bring it back to you, and you're like, oh, I put a little puppy paw print on there right now. It's like new marketing, right?
Yeah. Well, so I have a question. That wet dog, that reminds me of, this is going to go back, but Monsters, Inc., when you have little kids, you have to watch these movies 100 times. But the odorant they wear, which isn't deodorant, one of them is wet dog. Wet dog. You have any odorant? You said skull cap. Too much skull cap can be poisonous. What is skull cap? Because I see it on the balm here, but what is that?
Plant.
It's a plant?
It's just a plant.
I guess all of them are
All
a
of it
plant.
is plants, Sarah.
But how does skull cap kill you if you get too much? Do you know?
It's just like the same, like with the pokeweed. It's just you get too much of it.
Oh, too much of the
So
vitamin.
if somebody
or whatever.
decides to,
okay.
eat it raw, like I don't know who would do that, but probably more in a tea form, right? People are like, I'm going to dry this out and make it a tea and see
If
what
you
it
drink
does to
too
me.
much of that tea or
Yes.
whatever.
Yeah.
It's very well with the whole experimental thing. I mean, that's probably why it is concluded
yeah.
toxic, because there's obviously the first person who ever tried it, there's
Throwing
probably a
up.
few who quote unquote first ever
Expelling.
tried it. So
Expelling fluids.
It
yeah.
fell on his head. Why do they call it skull cap? That's a weird one to me. Too.
Maybe the shape of the plant or something.
Oh, yeah.
That's what I would
Could be
think.
that.
So I love these little roll-ons that you do. I need to get one of these. You guys make one of these for migraines?
that one
is
actually
for
is for
migraines.
migraines. The
Okay.
Revive It
I'm gonna
and
get
And
Revive one.
sinuses.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I've started getting migraines up here again, and I think it's because I was doing a chiropractor regularly, and then we moved away, and it's hard to find one that you really jive with. So I wasn't having them for a while, and
Now
I've
you're
been
getting them
and I think I'm
back.
getting used to the elevation and stuff too. I put a little rolly on there, and it
Yeah.
helps.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
we've
yeah.
noticed. We've had a lot of people say, especially rubbing it under their like
For
on their upper
sinuses?
lip, and for the migraines as well. And
the
like,
smell is what helps a lot.
yeah,
Oh, okay.
Just that
So
being
kind of
able-
inhalation of it.
Oh,
and
that's
like
interesting.
rubbing it. I don't know. I'm kind of over here like marker
Yeah.
style. Like,
Yeah, because
Well,
I
it
do.
reminds me of,
yeah,
like,
I
the-
know
the-
that. I'm sorry. When you have like a humidifier and you put the steam with some essential oils
Yeah.
in, sometimes that helps. But nobody wants to do that. Like
Yeah.
nobody wants to put their head over the humidifier
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
and do that.
The vapor
Time for
rub
that.
days when we were kids, where they would rub that stuff all
Yeah.
under your nose to keep your sinuses clear. And I
Yeah.
think it was just like the menthol in it that was doing
Yeah.
that anyway.
And really, that's just a type of like tincture, like
Yeah.
a salve or a cream.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean,
Remember-
if
do you
you really
remember
want to think about it, everything is a tincture when you really think about it.
Until
I
they
guess.
add the poison. Yeah.
Until
Yeah.
then.
Yeah.
So
Start producing it in a lab. You know,
Yeah.
But it
change
reminds
it.
me, like, you would do these all natural instead of like the, what's that horrible stuff I used to do? Afrin.
Yeah.
She would give me the thing where she like soaks the cotton in it, and then it's got a
The
plastic
little
tube, and then you
nose
kind of
inhalers.
and you
Yeah.
kind of
Talking
just
about-
sniff the stuff and
And
place
I
it.
and I swear by those. You can put different stuff in there, peppermint, whatever. But I swear by those whenever you go on an airplane. Instead of wearing a mask because you're just inhaling all the stuff, you do that before you go on an airplane, and like through the airplane and after, you won't get sick
Yeah.
yeah.
because it's like it's creating a barrier or something. I don't know. Some of those essential oils that are antimicrobial or fungal or whatever's floating around the air, it's stopping it before it gets into your, you have your hair in your nose, which is just disgusting.
Why is it
We're
there?
talking
We're
about
gonna cut
bodily
to a,
fluids and nose hair. Come on.
If you're watching on YouTube, we're going to cut to a close up of Angie's nose hair. Stand by.
Whoa. Calm down. They're not going to be able to see up there.
But going back on that, something that I don't think like we ourselves have really experienced with it, but my boss, she actually makes it. She makes like colloidal silver, and I think it's like hydrophosphorus acid water. We call it magic water. Like that, she just gives it to us, and she's like, "Here's the magic
just
water."
makes it. She don't have a
Oh,
business.
no, she does. She just makes
bad.
it, and oh my gosh, it like cures everything.
Yeah.
Like
Well, silver is
yeah.
all sorts of.
Yeah.
That's why stainless steel. That's why people have that in restaurants. Because it doesn't hold the germs. And
Yeah, and like that, it like I said, like it cures everything. The magic water that she gave us, like I told her, I was like, I had a sore throat, and like I could not for the love of me get rid of it at all. And I was just like, look, I'm either gonna have to call out or I'm going to the doctor, because like at that point it was getting serious. I was just
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
and it was like my first ever like time having a sore throat.
Yeah, and
Like,
you're around little kids all day, so like,
Yeah.
you're bound
Yeah.
to pick stuff up.
I'd start
if you-
thinking I have strep throat or something.
Oh, yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Not it was strep throat, not
was
just
it?
a sore throat.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah,
strep
yeah.
throat.
You
And,
can
like,
tell the difference when
yes.
you're
Yeah.
When my
Yeah.
kids were in daycare, I think we got that once a month. It was horrible.
Yeah, it was strep throat, not just a sore throat. And I was just like, I can't. And she was like, okay, meet me here tonight at this place. And I'm like, this is it. I'm gone. this is one way to get fired. And no, she gave me this big jug, like in a if you saw us, you would think like she's giving me moonshine or
Drug
something.
deal, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah.
100%.
Wow.
And like we met in this like sketchy like old flea market. It was something. And because like my husband was with me, and he's like, did she just give you moonshine? And because it was just a big mason jar of just clear stuff.
Wow.
And like, one day of taking it, it was gone the next day.
Oh, wow.
And like,
Yeah.
we take it for everything. And like, I'm trying to learn how to make it myself. And like, because she said it like took her 7 years to find out like the perfect like proportions and the perfect like recipe to do it.
The sad thing is she can't sell it. That's
Yeah.
the worst part.
Yeah.
And like with how much that helps, like, I want, and it helps for everything.
It reminds me of, how like during Prohibition they had to like have secret bars. It's almost like you have
This
to have
is
a
us.
secret pharmacy now.
Well,
This is
I
awesome.
think you can take that and take a sample of it to like these independent labs and have them test what's
Reverse
in it.
engineer it. Yeah.
And they give you the measurement.
Oh yeah. See, what all it is it's salt, water, and vinegar. That's all it is.
It's just a ratio.
It's just the certain ratios of it.
Okay.
And it's like, who would have thunk that salt, water, and vinegar, just in a different proportion, will literally help cure anything and everything under the
well, you
stars?
think about
like,
Wow.
think about this is what they used to clean homes with.
Yeah.
And that's what we
Yeah.
should be cleaning homes with, because the salt and lemon and
and that's what we do. We make our own cleaners. because I will say we have our kids, they bring in their own lunches, and I definitely steal their orange peels.
Oh, yeah.
It's there. I'm taking it.
Oh, of course.
And I make our own cleaners with them, and all it is just vinegar and
Soak
the
in
orange
that.
peels, lemon
Yep.
peels, lavender, like.
Oh, Angie started cleaning, like, I'm a IT guy in my day job and a big electronics nerd, but like cleaning glass, like screen of devices and stuff with vinegar instead of the poison spray stuff. And you had like all of your cleaning supplies for a while were all that natural stuff.
Yep.
The nice thing about that too is you don't have to worry about your dogs. So,
Yeah. Or
you know,
the migraine that you get from spraying.
or the
other stuff.
knocking yourself out from bleach in the tub or something, right?
Yeah, see, and like I always worry about that.
Yeah.
Because, like, you know, you.
Oh, you will
especially,
knock
like,
yourself out
She
of
did.
it.
Yeah.
I've done
Almost
it before.
did,
That's
yeah.
so crazy.
Yeah.
Like, I remember, you know, The Simpsons does everything. It tells
know.
the future. And, like, I remember being younger and, like, watching the episode where, like, Marge is mixing all of these chemicals. She's cleaning the house. She is angry. And then she's just, like, passes out. She like, got amnesia or something.
Yeah.
And I'm just like,
That's where my short-term memory comes from.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
probably that explains it.
But they'll tell you, like, right on that stuff, open all your windows. If something says
Nobody
open all your
reads
windows,
those
it means
directions.
Why
you
want
should
it?
not be using it.
Yeah.
So it really means. Because now you're going to come step in here after barefooted. Yeah.
Nobody reads that.
Yeah.
What are these little balms for?
So that one is, if that says comfort.
Yeah,
It does, yeah.
Because we
Comfort
have
zone.
another one, the Dreamies, but I don't think we brought that one.
Nope.
The comfort zone is good for pain.
Oh.
Yeah, we
Really?
were. It was originally called pain
topical or topical pain?
Topical pain.
Okay.
It's good
Yeah.
for like muscle relaxant.
Okay.
It's good for nerve pain. The skull cap actually really helps with the nerve pain as well.
Oh, cool.
Not a pinched nerve though.
Not a pinch,
will-
Not
you can't
deeper.
unpinch a nerve.
No.
But
You can. I learned that one.
Sure. Yeah, I would think if you have like a fracture or a pinched nerve,
Does
there's
not cure,
limitations.
FYI.
Yeah. But there's huge value in that, though. I just had surgery and I have like phantom pain from it,
Yeah.
where it makes me curious to try. And actually, I just rubbed some of this. It's makes your tattoo look new too if you rub it on your.
Jojoba oil in there?
Yeah.
Yes.
And the first ingredient.
I'm saying it wrong, aren't I?
Don't worry, I did too, and she like.
What
made
is it? How do you
fun
say
of
it?
me.
Jojoba.
Oh, yeah.
What is it?
Jojoba.
Jojoba.
Yeah.
So this whole time you're making me say JoJo.
Whatever.
That's how I was.
Jojoba.
I came over to her house and we were like looking at what types of oils to use, and I was like, "What is jojoba oil?" And she was like, "What?"
Well, you know what? It makes sense. It's like Baja. When people say
Yeah.
Baja, yeah,
Yeah.
that makes sense.
Well, I noticed like avocado oil you use and the jojoba. Did I say it right now?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, it's like Santa Claus. I get it now.
That tends to be
Jojoba.
two of the ones that a lot of people use because I don't think they're inflammatory. I think it's almond oil. A lot of people use and it can be inflammatory.
Yeah.
So, grapeseed oil.
Yeah,
that another one?
we've been practicing with different oils because, like you said, that one is the avocado and jojoba oil. We learned that the jojoba oil on its own doesn't
work great. Yeah.
It's just because it's thicker. It's
Yeah.
it's a different consistency, and
You need to absorb it too. Your skin needs to be able to absorb it, not just have it sit on your skin like a paste.
Going back to that event that we stayed up all night doing it, we used the avocado oil, and then we were like, "This is not."
You got to
Not
mix
right.
it. You have to
Yeah,
have more than one oil, and that really gets it to the right consistency for
It's kind
what
of
we
fun
like.
doing that little experiment,
Oh,
though, isn't it?
It was-
as
it
long
was
as
very-
you're doing it in small increments, because that can get expensive
Yeah.
if
Oh,
you're making
yeah.
a whole batch and you're like,
That-
this isn't great.
That night was something like we said previously. We were hysterical, and we thought we could math, and we we can
Like how you said that.
we can. The math was not mathing
Yeah.
right that night.
Well, after that many hours
Oh,
of going
yeah,
at
like-
it, you're like,
That many
We-
cutting
it's
that
not.
many
You're not
circles
firing on
manually.
all.
we we were
cylinders.
trying to what? We were just trying to like quadruple the recipe. Oh, we like more
Well,
than quadrupled.
we mixed
Oh,
up
wow.
so first we mix up the table and the teaspoon for the
Oh.
cayenne pepper.
Like,
So you can imagine.
well, I was
I
going
was
to ask, what is the cayenne pepper? Is it just
It helps with the blood circulatory, so it has that heating effect because cayenne pepper's hot.
yeah?
Mm-hmm.
And so, if you even when you're cooking with it, if you put it on your hands and like touch your eyes, ow.
Oh, yeah.
And so that's pretty much what it does is that you put it on there, you rub it on where it is, and
Like
that's
the
where you get that
icy
heat. Yeah, it's like the icy hot.
Okay.
And so I will say it's like it's not to the same extent.
It's
of,
subtle.
Like,
I just rubbed a little bit of it on my arm, and it's maybe just barely, but it's like very subtle.
Yeah, so it's not the same as the icy hot, like, but it is just not as extreme.
It's also not full of chemicals like icy hot.
Yeah. And so, yeah, it's really just there to help with just circulating the blood.
I see.
Yeah, I mean, I woke up with a crick in my neck. Like I could not.
Where you can't turn in the car.
My ear was glued to my shoulder. Like I could not lift it up. It was horrible. And about like halfway through the day, I'd been dealing with it for probably like 12 hours at this point. I'm like, we have a whole entire business. We make pain balms as like one of the
Why
main
aren't you
things.
using? Yeah,
I know.
And I finally tried it, and it was like I could actually stand my head up correctly.
I know. You were talking to me that day, and you're like, I just cannot get this crick out. And I was like, have you tried the comfort zone? And she was like, oh yeah,
We make that.
we have that.
I got a pound of it sitting right
Are
here.
we
It
the
helped
worst
completely.
about
I
taking
was-
care of ourselves, though?
Oh, yeah.
We're so bad about
Well,
it.
especially with
that's
having
common.
a child and
Yeah.
just having our day-to-day like work and our jobs,
That's super common, though. They say like the plumber always has leaky pipes and all, because you think about yourself last when it comes to that stuff.
Oh, yeah.
So,
I
what
get
other
it.
kind of products are you guys looking forward to adding to your collection in the future? I know you're
lot.
thinking you're probably going to list books started of it, right?
Much.
The body butters.
Yes, we have some body butters that we have been trying. It's been very weird because to make it, you have to freeze it.
Interesting. Okay.
We did not know that.
Okay.
And we're like whipping it all together, and we're like, why is it not?
So you're supposed to like
Forming.
freeze it and then whip it, and it has to be cold for it to whip properly.
So you have to
But you
freeze
have
to
to
have
mix
a
it
cold
warm,
bowl
so you have
that you're-
to heat it up, mix it up, put it in the freezer for like an hour, and then bring it out and then whip it.
It's like ice cream.
Oh, and it's like so
Yeah.
crazy. Like seeing it, like just even looking at it whenever it's like halfway frozen, it's like, what is that?
Yeah.
And then you start like just whipping it in the
It's like,
the
oh,
mixer,
okay,
and it's
that's
like,
body
oh my
butter.
goodness,
It's science.
oh 100%. It's so crazy,
Wow.
and it helps with so much. She used it on her son. We made like an unscented one, and you said that you used it on your son for his diaper rash, and it was like gone.
It was gone the next morning.
Oh, that's
awesome.
amazing.
And
Now, what
so-
are you including in it? Are you including like an oil or tinctures in there that
Yes.
help with the
this
healing?
This one is not specifically for the healing. This is like one of our newer, the ones that we've been trying. We did the jojoba oil, some witch hazel, and arrowroot,
arrowroot?
Yeah, the arrowroot, and then the
shea butter,
and coconut oil. I think we did a little bit.
I think so.
Yeah.
Oh,
we got the
great.
recipe
Yeah.
somewhere. We're really bad for that.
Yeah.
We'll like
Yeah.
make something and we're like, did you write the recipe down?
That's how I am with cooking.
That sounds like your marvelous meals that we're all like, can't wait to have that again. She's like, no, enjoy it.
Enjoy
Do it now.
This is a unique.
Live in the moment because
yeah.
this is the moment. Yeah, but you
Never
got to do
happened.
for a business. You got so you have to like reverse engineer it if you have
yeah.
to.
Yeah.
But yeah, it helps with so much.
That's
And
awesome.
Yeah, we've been working on that. I actually just worked on a anti-itch stick. I felt like that was very in season right now
Because of
for
the
Oh,
summer.
like for bugs and stuff. Oh.
For bugs, eczema. It's poison ivy with what everything's in it.
Oh yeah.
So yeah,
So
we've
everything's
been
in full bloom right now. That's
Oh,
for sure.
yeah, and that stuff's everywhere up here. We went hiking, and you know how you can take a picture with your phone. It'll tell you what.
Yeah.
So my brother does that where we just hiked and shows me. It's like sure enough, it's poison ivy
Oh,
or
yeah.
poison
Oh,
oak.
yeah.
Or poison. So that's
There's
different.
one. I grew up being told this. I have not seen it. Also, I'm not going out of my way to find a poison.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm highly allergic. But apparently, there is a flower that grows with the poison ivy or the poison oak. It's one or the other. Wherever you find it, there's always going to be a flower beside it, and that flower is apparently the antidote of the poison ivy and the poison oak.
Oh,
Isn't
And it's
that
like, isn't that so
interesting?
crazy? Like,
That's what nature does for us, though.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like the answer is right there for you.
100%. It's always going to be.
Yeah.
I mean,
Oh my
someone
gosh.
had to find it.
now if we
once
ever get
before.
into that, I'm going to be looking around going, "Where's the flower?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Where's the flower?"
It is like, you know, if you watch animals out in the wild too,
They
they'll
have to
tell
survive.
They'll tell you which ones are, you know, poisonous
Edible.
and not
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
poisonous, and you know how how dogs know how to eat a certain type of weed or grass that's going to make them sick because there's something in their tummy that needs to come up. Our dogs do that, and the vet says don't let them eat it, and I'm like, but they know how to fix themselves.
Yeah.
I don't want to bring them to you.
Yeah.
And that for a $500 bill. So guess what?
But you know
Eat
what
the grass.
that reminds me of? What we were talking about at the beginning, where the knowledge is transferred down, and maybe it's some instinctual scent thing with dogs, but the knowledge, if it weren't for our modernization of medicine, we would all know when you're in the woods, if you get hurt, to eat this and don't eat that, and wrap the wound in this, and squeeze the juice and chew that, all these things that, it reminds me of the dogs, because they'll sniff all around the yard, and it has to be a certain thing they eat to make them sick. It's almost like they go, that's not it. That's not it. That's what we would know if we hadn't lost the sort of tribal knowledge in a way of all that.
So you guys are working on your website to get everything up and running.
We were actually working on that this morning.
It's not easy. Okay,
it is not.
We have an Airbnb in Florida, and I've been building the website for that. It's on Airbnb, so it doesn't need its own website. But I want to start doing more like direct bookings where people can save money because it's so expensive to book through Airbnb. But it's so time consuming.
That's one of my side gigs. I build websites, and it is
This is why you pay people. To do it, because it's like, no, why isn't that lining up? Oh my gosh.
Well, I think for us, we're pretty much almost done, right? Like right now, we're really just working on how to figure out shipping, because that is our main concern. Because we do have the balms, or like the deodorants and the body butters that we're hopefully going to be putting out soon, and it's like, you know.
You have to round up or down.
Melt.
Well, it melts. Yeah. Like that's what we're like.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, and getting into dry ice shipping and all that's a nightmare. That's a
so that's like what's been taking the longest with our website. Is just, you know, like we could have it posted right now, and at one point we did, but it was like, you can order everything right now, and we're like, no, you can't. No. So we retook it down to get that situated. But it's like, if we really wanted to, we could put it out just for the publicity of having it up. But
you want the store on it.
Well, you also don't want a product arriving to somebody and it's not in its consistency it needs to be.
I will say that is some of the more challenging sites that I've built, where you have to have some sort of a database in the background, like I did with the barbecue sauce, where that ties in with your inventory, so that when people are buying, it's chewing away at your own data, so you know, hey, we're getting in trouble. And when in your list of inventory internally is out, the website changes to temporarily sold out, because otherwise you end up in trouble where you're like, oh, geez, we got to make 50 batches of this overnight, you know, that kind of stuff.
That's scary. That's scary when that happens. But if somebody wants to see you in person and come grab something from you, where can they find you?
So right now we have been selling at the farmers market that my family actually grew up selling at.
Cool.
My grandfather has so very nicely let us use his booth. It is called the Curb Market. It's on North Church Street in downtown Hendersonville, downtown Main Street.
It's like in the historic area?
Yes.
Oh, that's cool.
If you ever want some background information on me, they all know me there from diapers.
Oh, nice. So you're born and raised in this area? Then?
Yeah, born and raised in Edneyville, North Carolina. Not a lot of people know about that area.
Wow.
Yeah. Edneyville.
We've been adding little towns to our list to check out.
Don't go there.
No, it's too little.
It's not worth it.
It's not one of those.
No, like
a little bit too much peace and tranquility there?
A little too much.
Too far out?
Because I mean, like, we don't even have like a grocery store. You have to like go out to the main town to go to the grocery store. And that's, like,
we want to be,
a 30-minute drive as is.
Yeah.
So,
it's a little far.
We have like gas stations.
Yeah.
But it's like,
we've driven through some of them.
You can't get nothing there.
I think we really do want a quaint little historic type town.
Yeah.
That's bustling on the weekends, but not too much. Like
not
the
touristy.
You can still walk away when you need to.
Yes. But it has growth. You see growth.
Yeah,
and
that's what I like about Hendersonville.
Yes,
I do too.
That area, I think that
I think it fits
that's a really nice
area.
area.
You want to have commerce happening in your town. You don't want to be in an abandoned town that has nothing.
Yeah, I think like other than the people who are already living in Edneyville, like, and you all know one another.
Yep.
The only other people we get coming through are the bikers, and I bet y'all have had a lovely time with the bikers. I don't know how it is in Florida.
On the roads, you mean? Just a couple of times on some of the mountain roads we've been on. We've had, they all come around in a big swarm or whatever, but not too bad from what we've.
I mean, we're from
lucky.
Florida, so there's Bike Week down there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like we're used to that.
We're
Like,
also
That's
like,
good.
Yeah.
we're like touristy almost still because we'll drive from here to Hendersonville, but then we'll tell the map on our phone avoid highways, and it takes
Yeah.
twice as
We-
long, but it's such a nice drive,
want
and then
the
you see
scenic
real
route.
towns.
Oh, yeah.
And, it seems like otherwise you're always on the interstate around here. So
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. But Edneyville in its own, it is a very beautiful area.
Is it?
Yeah, it's just if you're there to like go somewhere,
it's not that.
It's not going to happen.
there's no stores, there's nothing like
It's hiking. Yeah.
our like, hey, you want to go somewhere? Let's go to Walmart.
Yeah.
Let's go walk around. That was our excitement.
You know what's funny though? Well, I've noticed about some of these small towns, which I kind of love because I guess if we end up living in one of these, we went to like a restaurant and as we're checking out, I said, where's the place to hike around here? And they said, I would get killed if I told you. So they wouldn't
it's
tell
a-
me
it's
because
a
they don't
town
want
secret.
they don't
Yeah.
want a bunch of tourists. And tourism is great.
And
but
I get it
I do
because
too.
that's kind of how we want to be.
Right.
We want
yeah.
to take people there.
Yeah.
But we're not telling like somebody we meet on the street, hey, come to our
Oh,
town.
yeah.
We're not
and
saying,
look at this.
on the
No.
podcast, if you're listening, here's the coordinates.
Here's
like,
the
I don't want to ruin it for myself. Yeah.
Stop listening right now for
Right.
like five seconds. We're gonna talk about this.
Exactly.
It's like that in Edneyville. You have to know people to find the good hikes. My
Yeah.
grandfather actually just took my husband and I out on one, and we hiked. It was his place to go in high school to go and drink beer.
Oh, yeah,
Not a very safe place. When he told me that, I was like,
we had
surprised
that
you
back
made
in
it.
Florida.
But
They're all neighborhoods now.
it was on top of a waterfall.
Oh, that's so cool.
It was beautiful, but it's like here's where you can stand. Let alone it wasn't even level. It was boom. Here's where you can
yeah.
stand. Now let's add beer into the equation.
We used to.
It's
I'm from Apopka, Florida, where we used to climb an old abandoned water tower with beer and sit
Oh,
up
yeah.
there and drink, and then you had to climb back down it.
Oh yeah.
So I understand.
Still alive. So,
Yeah.
hey.
Made it.
And you had some amazing adventures and
I
great
love that it's
stories
still
to tell.
there, though, because in Florida, it's all neighborhoods now. I
Oh,
couldn't
yeah.
bring somebody to see it,
This
That's
one
what ours
is
is.
like so overgrown. Felt like we were like on an actual like in the jungle. We had to like cut tree. Like,
What
not
kind
cut
of
trees
wild
down.
animals are
Oh
out
yeah.
here?
We had to like there were these like fallen branches, and we had to like go through it. And then like halfway in the hike, my grandfather's like, I really hope we're going the right way. And I was like, me too. Like,
Oh gosh.
me too.
Does anybody
is
know how
so
to get
great.
back if there's no signal? Right.
I just love that your grandfather is still just hiking away.
Oh, yeah.
That's what keeps you, kicking right up till the
Oh,
end
yeah.
is keeping moving and of course all these things that he's taught you to do. So hopefully we can start applying some of that to our life and live because you have to live till like you're 105.
We
I
have
want to
been.
live till
my
I'm 100.
family members
so.
have all survived until like mid 90s. So
Yeah,
I mean,
that's
it's
wonderful.
doing
awesome.
something.
Yeah.
So,
We've been hiking almost every weekend. I really enjoy biking, like, bicycling. And we have found up here, I have found that if you want to do like the paved bike paths, which are really fun, they're all like this. So not like this, but like
Yeah.
this. So you enjoy it one direction and you don't enjoy it the other. So so we're
You
learning
got to
still.
find some flat ones.
Yeah, or some actual mountain
Yeah.
paths that are more gravel
Yeah.
or whatever. But yeah.
Well, you guys, thank you so much for joining us here in the studio.
Yes.
Congratulations on starting your new business this year. And I know you'll have much success. You have a passion for it, both of you, I can tell. So
Yeah, and we'll have to come out and see you guys when we're in Hendersonville.
Oh,
Is
yeah.
the
Oh, we're gonna come
market
check
only on the
them.
weekends?
so the market is actually open on Tuesdays, Thursdays. They keep going back and forth on Fridays.
Right.
So it might be open on Fridays. I don't know. But I work, and then
But you can find them
whenever
on
you're-
Facebook, right?
Yeah, we're on Facebook. But we're there mainly on Saturdays, us.
Okay.
But our product is there.
Always there.
Oh,
So
it's in
you
a
might
booth, okay.
not always meet us.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
our product is always there. You will meet my grandfather. So
Yeah.
he will
Ask him where the hiking spots are.
Oh yeah.
Well, we're
I
going
was
to
told
put a
you would
link to
tell
your
us-
social media as well.
Yeah, for sure.
Yes,
Yeah.
our social media. You can find us
Yep.
on there.
Indeed. Well, thank you guys. This
yeah,
is great.
thank you for having
You.
us.
You said your key word.
What's
Indeed.
that? Did I say it again?
You did.
Oh, I was looking for tiptoes. Like, when did
Oh,
he say
tippy
that?
toe. Tippy toe. Tippy toe. I'm showing
No,
my age.
I wrapped it up. I don't have any more questions. I'm good. I don't think I do. Let me think. Hold on. No, I don't. Anyway, guys, thank you so much once again.
Yes, thank you guys.
And everybody have a great week. Thank you for tuning in. Once again, I'll look at the camera and engage you a little bit. And remember, at the end of each and every day,
It's all fine and dandy.
Hi, guys. We hope you enjoyed the show today. If you did, we would love a review. So make sure to head over to your Apple Podcast app or whatever app you listen to your podcast on and give us a 5-star review. Also, give us a like and a follow on our social media. You can find that all under Fine and Danjee. And if you want to find out more about our guest or about us, head over to fineanddanjee.com.